I will train so hard that those around me think I am insane. I will push myself beyond my limits every day and refuse to let any obstacles stand in my way. I will work harder than everyone else. Through my relentless pursuit of perfection and strength, I will become unstoppable, and those who thought I was crazy will soon come to respect me. I will not rest until I have conquered everything in my path.
Ooh, Chicago was America's city back then. Look, we had the Bulls who won back-to-back championships. Look, nothing could hold the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael "Digo" Jordan! The Joffrey Ballet moved to the city, Navy Pier reopened with a Ferris wheel, Barack Obama was elected to Senate, and the Cubs had Sammy Sosa. That was back when times were simpler.
Hello, everyone. This is Marcine Ricketts back with another episode of my podcast, The Infinite Climb. Welcome to episode 6. I can't believe that I am 6 episodes out.
Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. I love her, y'all. I love her. And I'm continuing my climb in interviewing transplants to LA. In the creative spaces that are looking to chase their dreams, and just to know the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and what it is that they're attempting or not attempting, that they're going to do out here in LA, what their journey here was like, what it's been like navigating the LA scene and pursuing that journey, and where they are now. And so today I have on my podcast the beautiful, the wonderful, the excellent B MOR. Hi, B MOR.
Hi.
And B MOR is hailing from Chicago, Chi-Town.
Chi-Town. Yeah.
And how long have you been in Los Angeles?
So this will make 6 years for me in November. Yeah. Officially relocating. Before that, I actually was visiting Los Angeles for about 5 years before moving.
Okay.
So that doesn't include the 6.
Yes.
So a little bit of, I say a long lost daughter of
Yes.
Los Angeles.
Yes.
So been here a little bit of a minute.
Yeah. And B MOR is in the film industry. Yes.
Yeah, film, TV,
yes,
theater.
Yes. I had looked over some of her journey in Chicago and here, and it's remarkable. Her acting skills. She does screenwriting, acting, and she also has a school to train actors. Yes.
I have my own studio.
She has her own studio to train actors. And I know that she told me she has a few projects coming up too in the fall. So, we're going to delve in, as much as, she allows. We won't go too deep because we know that, we got to take baby steps in whatever we do. But yes, Miss Actress, okay, we're going to see her on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's been in other films already.
Yeah.
But we're going to see her one day on the big screen because we speak big words over big people. All right? Over wonderful, talented people that are here making their way through the Los Angeles industry. So, B MOR, why LA? Why did you leave Chicago to come to LA?
I think for me, I was drawn to LA. I was drawn to Los Angeles. It wasn't something that I necessarily thought like, oh, okay, after I finish school, I'm going to move to LA. For me, because my foundation is theater and acting, the natural choice was to go to New York City. I went to school in Washington, D.C. I'm an alum of Howard University. So HU. So, New York is literally right there.
Yes.
However, about junior year of my collegiate career, I knew that I still wanted to pursue acting. However, there was a little bit of a tug in me to say, I want to see what television and film is about. At that time, I had already, went through high school as a drama major. So I studied theater in high school. Then I turned around and, continued that as an acting major at Howard University. But there was like a little bit of a tug of just curiosity of like, let's figure out what this is about. From there, I ended up going to the Cannes Film Festival in Cannes, France. And I was like, okay, let me see what's going on with this TV acting world and film. And at that point, I had already been producing. I just didn't know the language for it. So I was like, okay, let me now also figure out the language for it. And so once I did go to the Cannes International Film Festival, it was just kind of like, all right, TV and film kind of has my heart right now. It doesn't say, that I'm giving up theater, but for me, I knew that if I wanted to continue to pursue television and film, I knew that Los Angeles would ideally be the place that I would end up at.
Well, I just want to say shout out to Cannes.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have met this fabulous lady. She truly is fabulous. And I talked a couple of podcasts ago about community. And she is part of my church community. And she's the leader of a life group that is labeled Come Out of Hiding or Stop Hiding Fam.
Stop Hiding Fam.
And she's not hiding anymore, you guys. I'm not hiding. I've tried to hide, but that didn't work out for me. So here I am in Los Angeles.
There you go.
And, we know that, oh my goodness, everything is just rolling out step by step by step.
Yeah.
And it seems that way for you also. Because when you used to visit Los Angeles, what did you do when you used to visit? When did you go to Cannes? What year? Do you remember?
Let's see. The first time I went was in 2012.
Okay.
And then I ended up graduating from Howard. And the day after graduation, I hopped on a flight and went back to Cannes the second time. But that time I went to produce an international short film and participate in a film festival. So I went twice, but the very first time was in 2012.
Okay. And then you started to, you decided to come out to LA. You started to visit LA. Like, when was your first time visiting?
Well, I had already been to LA like when I was younger. My family traveled a lot. So I had been when I was younger. So, I had an uncle out here. So I remember vivid memories of like my family coming to visit my uncle. But it was, I want to say maybe my senior year, spring break is when I ended up coming and was like, okay, let me go and visit with intention. And so, it's spring break, you're in college. Most people are going to Miami. Like, most people are like going to like these tropical destinations and they're like, okay, we're going to break. But for me, I was like, let me go and just visit. At that time, I had friends who I did go to school with who had graduated and were living out here now. So it was just a thing of like, hey guys, can I sleep on your couch for a few days? Can I come and check this out? And that honestly had been a lot of my journey for those 5 years of visiting. Like sometimes I would like rent an Airbnb. Sometimes I would stay with family. Other times I would just call up friends and like, hey, I'm coming. Can I stay on your couch? And from there, they'd be like, oh, you're in town? Okay. They may need assistance with this film. Oh, this film is happening. You should come and check it out, or you should be a part of it. And so that is a lot of kind of how my journey went in terms of first starting with, I would say my senior year spring break when I was in college. Yeah.
And did you think that you wanted to be an actress from you were a little girl? Like, what fueled this dream to go into acting? I know you started out in doing plays, but even before that, like, what fueled your desire to go into acting?
So let's talk about it. So I've always been a theater kid, right? So I've always been in some type of performing arts, whether it was like choir. Very, very early on, I started off in dance. So, studying modern, studying ballet, studying all these different types of dance. And so it came to was I in sixth grade? I want to say about sixth grade in middle school. And I'm a church girl. I grew up in church, and there was a lot of performing arts in church. And so at that time, my children's church pastor ended up coming to me and was like, hey, I'm getting ready to start teaching this series and this sermon on this specific topic. I need for you and your friends to do a skit on Sunday. I said, wow. Wait, what? He was like, yeah, I don't know what in his mind prompted him to single me out. Now, granted, I went to a mega church, but it was still very much a village. Mm-hmm. So we were very accessible to our pastors and stuff. And I had already been a part of the choir and assisting in children's church in terms of ushering and just different forms of ministry. So I don't know what propelled him, but he was like, yeah, I just needed to get together. I was like, we don't have no script. At that point, I had never, ever been a part of the creating process. Wow. A lot of it was just all right, cool. We're going to audition for this talent show. We're going to audition for this Black history play at school. But he was like, no, I need you to create it. What? Wow. So from that day, I don't know who I thought I was in my mind. Okay. It was 1 week. It was a time clock. And so at that time when I was growing up, and I might date myself a little bit, but it was the original Proud family. That was the big craze, right? With Penny Proud, her family, her Oscar Proud, Trudy, all of them, the twins, Sugar Mama. Mm-hmm. So I love it. So I was like, okay, based upon just the bullet points he gave me of the series he was getting ready to start teaching, I was like, I'm going to write our version of the Proud family. Okay. I called all my friends together at church.
I love it.
We had rehearsal on Wednesday when Bible study was taking place. So all the parents were at Bible study and we were in the schoolroom rehearsing our lines. When I say I was acting as casting director, producer, okay.
You wore all the hats.
Listen. Yeah. And then we started talking costumes. Yes. And so I was like, okay. I was like, oh, well, what part I'm gonna play? I ended up playing the role of Sugar Mama. Okay. I love my family and I love my parents because they just will back me in anything. My mama got together a costume for Sugar Mama. Okay, listen, I had the wig, yes. I had the little the nightgown, and I had these shoes. And then to top it all off, Sugar Mama in the actual show in the series has a dog. We had a little mechanical dog. When I say I walked out those doors on that Sunday for my role and everyone started cheering, yes. It was this thing that came over me that I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life.
See that?
But the thing about it is that I knew I wanted to pursue acting. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a question. Mm-hmm. What my pastor didn't know at the time was that he was also planting seeds of entrepreneurship in me, producing, and also the behind the stage of the creation. I had no clue that that was anything that I even wanted to pursue, but it was those seeds that, along with acting, kind of carried me. And if I'm being honest, a lot of my journey, yes, acting has been the forefront, but I'll be very honest, a lot of that producing, a lot of that behind the scenes has always been a part of my journey, even starting from the first time that I hit that stage of Sugar Mama with my wig and mechanical dog.
I would love to see a picture of that. So that was probably, well, not probably, I am sure from what I'm hearing that was fabulous because I looked at a couple of things online on your website that you have done. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I know you did a one-woman show called
Woman.
Woman.
Yeah.
Spelled WOMB.
WHOAMAN.
Okay.
Woman.
Okay. And talk about fabulous personality, talent, presence. Because I don't think that everybody always has presence. And she had the whole package. wearing many faces, many hats, and that it's called a monologue, right?
So yeah, so in Woman, I play about 9 characters,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, it was very interesting that I spoke about women
Mm-hmm.
and the journey of womanhood. And
Mm-hmm.
so the main character is getting ready to turn 30.
Mm-hmm.
She's lost her mom, which is a very, very, I think, sensitive topic for anyone who has lost a parent, including a mother like myself. And so for me, it was about the women in her life and in her journey that she talks to, that she thinks about, that she has these interactions with as she is entering into a new level of womanhood, which is her 30s, and her having to take advice from them, but also her figuring out, okay, well, what is my identity at this time? And so for me, that was a very, very important part of not only just the constructing of it, but the writing of it, because I wrote it. But also it's interactive, it's fun, it is a piece that has some comedic moments. It also talks about very real things that I feel like women, not only women, but women of color and Black women deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And just poses questions for you to think about after you leave the show.
Mm-hmm. Wow, not a show that's educated. I'm sorry, that is entertaining, but also educational.
Mm-hmm.
Leaves you with something to think about. Those are like the best, because I feel like it has so much authenticity, in that the character is authentic in their presentations. The writer is authentic in where it's coming from, but it also helps you to look at your authentic self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important. Not only entertainment, but a purpose, all in
Amen.
one. And this lady seems to always do something with a purpose. It's not just doing it to do it. There is always seems to be a purpose. Even moving out to LA,
Mm-hmm.
a purpose behind it. I think there was a book, or is a book called the Purpose Driven Life, and you
Mm-hmm.
seem to really embody a purpose driven life,
Thank you.
which is so important, I believe, when you move to a place like Los Angeles, where if you're not careful, you could go off the deep end. Um, but yeah, it really helps that she's moving with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to the Proud Family.
Yeah.
Tell the people about the Proud Family, for those who are not familiar with the Proud Family.
So the Proud Family, originally, and now they do have a newer version, that's on Disney Channel Plus. So streaming.
Yes.
I'm not associated with the show.
Yes.
However, I am available for hire.
Yes.
But the Proud Family was a cartoon back in the day on Disney Channel about a Black family, and about a mom, a dad. The main character was Penny Proud, so you got a chance to see her interacting with her family. Sugar Mama, which if you've never heard of a Sugar Mama, it's a colloquial term that we call a grandmother, a nana. And
So
so
not the sugar mommy that y'all are thinking. Shame on you.
Mm.
I know what you guys are thinking. But
where
go
your
ahead.
mind? Where is your mind? Okay. But it tells the story of her interacting with her family, right?
Yes.
Her parents, that relationship, her twin siblings, her uncle, her grandmother, but also with her friends and growing up in these adolescent years. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they were either in middle school or high school, if I'm not mistaken. And it talks about, as a person of color growing up, and like growing up, what are some things that you are dealing with? How do you deal with friendships? How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with your first crush? How do you deal with, oh, maybe I want to try out for a sport, and maybe you're not good at it. Maybe you've never done it before. Maybe there's some sense of growth. And so there were a lot of life lessons that took place with the Proud Family during that time, and with the newer version as well, that for me, it was so on point with, I believe, what the series was getting ready to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was in middle school, so I could relate to a lot of the things that I saw from that show.
Oh my goodness, it's so important to be able to have shows that one can relate to from their life experience, whether it's from their culture, race, finances, relationships, religion, whatever. It is so important be able to be able to relate. Like, what are some films, other films that you think you could relate to? Like, I love films that have strong women. You know, the woman out there whooping butt, like, yes, yes, go. And you know, like, I love, like, for example, well, this one didn't have too much whipping butt, but I loved Lupita Nyong'o. Shout out Lupita. I saw her last movie, The Quiet
A
Place.
Quiet Place.
The first day one, and she played such a strong character in that, and I loved it. And like Charlize Theron, am I saying her last? I don't even know. Charlize Theron, you're you know, those characters you always play. Well, not always, but you play some, you know, some characters where she's kicking butt and taking names, and you know, Zoe Saldana, and just a lot of different female roles. I love to see a girl out there like, take this and take that, ha. So it's so important. And for you, what are who are some of the actors or some of the shows that you feel like you could relate to that may have helped you in your life processes?
Yeah. For me, I'm always drawn to stories where it shows the full spectrum of humanity. For me, that is where I am most attracted.
Yes.
For me, as an actor, as an artist, but also as a writer, it is very important to see not only the highlights of a character in that world, but also see the shadows. And finding beauty in showing the shadows. For me, that is the full spectrum of humanity that I'm drawn to. I think in terms of some of the actors, actresses, I can go off of the deep end, like, you know, Angela Bassett.
I was about to say, sorry, Angela. Listen, I love me some Angie.
Man.
She's beautiful.
Come on.
Ooh, and then she nails every role.
And is so amazing in person. I mean, it's so polite. It's so open. I mean, you can, for me, get a sense of just her compassion that I do think is exuded in a lot of the interviews that she does. But you can also feel that in person. At least I did when I had an opportunity to meet her.
Yeah.
And so absolutely shout out to you, Miss Angela Bassett. You know, you named another one.
Forgive me, but we love you.
We do. You named another one, Viola Davis, you know. But I also think of, you know, actors that I just love seeing them body a role. Oh my gosh.
And sorry, I didn't name her, but my brain was going, I guess, maybe like to high action film. But how can I forget Viola in Woman King? Did you see her in Woman King?
Did I?
What?
Are you kidding
Viola?
me? Opening weekend, I think I saw it maybe 3 times. I kid you not. They were, listen, because I know those numbers mean something opening weekend. So I made sure that they got all of my money. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
And then she's so versatile. She played what's the singer? Oh my gosh, that movie that she played.
Marcine.
Yes. Okay.
Marine's Black Bottom.
Why are you so, you know, fluent?
Yeah. And one thing that I just saw about that, which I kind of knew, but then hearing someone's perspective, I was like, wow, it really hit home, is that Viola Davis shot Ma Rainey before she shot The Woman King. And for Ma Rainey, she put on about 200 pounds. And so when you talk about acting and you talking about that human experience, she then lost all of that for The Woman King, because I'm not sure if everybody is aware, but they actually trained, and they actually went through like fitness classes, training. They went through like, it was like almost, I compare it to like an Olympic or athlete style like preparation for that role, which made sense because the director comes from an athletic background, you know, and she was like, no, I want you guys to feel it. I want you to embody it. And so when you talk about versatility, I mean, it's not easy to gain 200 pounds and then lose all of it, and for a role.
There has to be a great amount a passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow Viola on Instagram, and she is very passionate. She's very compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
And her stuff is always encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so definitely we see that played out in her real life
Mm-hmm.
and in those roles. Because I would be afraid to gain 200 pounds because I feel like I'd be stuck. So
Listen,
let me shout out to you, Viola. Shout out to you. But
and also her team. Let's not forget about that,
She always
because
snatched.
listen, the team is what's gonna get you together. Okay, so her team that like was on her and being a part of her with that journey too. Like let's not forget that all of the physical trainers, you know, all of the fitness coaches, the life coaches, and not just Viola Davis, but just in the acting world in general. Like it really does take a team for you to see this one actor playing this role. So shout out to everybody who's a part of the team helping these characters
Team
come to
helps.
life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A team definitely helps. Ooh, but talking about teams, we know that in the beginning stages of our climb that we don't always have a team, right? We are wearing all the hats. We are writing the screenwritings. We are picking out the costumes. We are hiring the actors and actresses. We are getting the set locations, especially if there's more than one. You got to scout out the places, the venues where they're shooting. You got to hire a film crew, you know, and kind of vet everyone. Everybody has to try out for the part to make sure they're a good fit. And then you're like the director, you're the producer, you're the everything. So there's a lot to be said for you for wearing all those hats, still having a life of your own. But we're gonna talk about what a day in the life for you in producing is like. But let's go back a little bit more when you first came to LA, because I want the folks to get what it takes to go into the acting industry.
Yeah.
So when you came here, did you just reach out to different studios? How did you try out for shows, for movies? How did you get started once you landed?